Hi, and welcome to a special Saturday edition of Spite Incorporated with your host, Nace Flaw. Really, the only reason I'm doing this today is because the wife had a rare Saturday morning shift, and I wanted to test out one more try with my equipment. Since the last attempt with the new Behringer audio input, which I'm going to write up a review and post it on the blog. It's worked better than using the built-in mic. It definitely worked better than trying to use the mic in, which is on the same sound card, so it shouldn't have been that big of a surprise that failed. However, using it with let me tell you my setup. I have two microphones that I've had for years. The one is a simple, the one is a GT Groove Tube. I'm forgetting the model number exactly, like GT 150 or something. Cost like $500. I bought it 8 years ago when I was younger and stupider and listened to the guy at Guitar Center. And I tried recording a lot of music with it, and what wound up happening was it's really sensitive. So if I had a well-kept studio that's completely soundproofed and everything, it probably would have worked great. However, since I don't have that, there's a lot of air. If you don't use it correctly, it picks up a lot of the environment, a lot of reverb, which then means when you go to EQ it, there's just a lot to cut until you're completely maiming the original sound bits that you wanted to record. And so then what's the point, right? Then I picked up another microphone. It's like a $20 or $30 karaoke mic that gets the job done. I picked it up real cheap at Best Buy. Seriously, is sold as a karaoke mic. It's perfect. Perfect for what I want to do. Now, am I making tracks like Mariah Carey where my voice is the highlight of the song? No. And I bury my voice under a lot of FX because I don't like it. That's why I like mixing other people's vocals, because it doesn't inherently sound like crap to me. Whereas anything I do, even if it's great, I wind up hating it. And I try to pitch shift it and correct it and just tweak it and tweak it and tweak it until I just bury it under a bunch of distortion, delay, and say, okay, done. You can't understand it, so that's good. I don't know where I picked that up. You know, I used to love singing when I was a kid and even into, into college. I remember kicking down my neighbor's door and singing him love songs just to get a laugh out of the rest of the crew. And I had no qualms with that. The problem was when I actually tried to sit down and sing my own songs and stuff and write lyrics and record, and that's when I started to get nervous and really started second-guessing myself. And nobody has ever said anything bad to me. Nobody's ever said, you need work. I know I do, but nobody has ever said it to me. Which is, I don't know, I've surprised people sometimes. I remember a voice teacher I had that was blown away, it seemed, by my rendition of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. But, I don't know, Anyway, so, last time I recorded this show, I used the karaoke mic. I've been trying to use karaoke mic, because it's just, for the past few years, it's been my go-to. It's been my workhorse. So when it kind of failed on me, that last show, I mean, if you notice, there's a lot of environment. It's not so much environment. What it really is increasing the gain on the signal. So there's a lot of high-pitched tones, a lot of signal. It's almost like if you cranked up a stereo that wasn't playing anything. You probably noticed the same noises in that cast. So this time I'm hooking up the groove tubes, which has a much hotter signal. It has shadow power, has active pickups. That's what I would call it in guitars, at least. I forget what they call it with microphones. I've never been one to I'm a special breed of geek. I just want things done. And I will salvage things and kind of rig them with duct tape and until what I get done is done. But I've never understood gearheads. I've never understood people that, like, especially when it comes to guitars, they have, this particular model that is from, 1967, but you have these humbucker pickups that are from this model and this company, and you wire it through this, that, the other thing, and it's like, do you play it? Like, I don't know. As somebody who messes with digital sound and knows that you can manipulate just about anything to sound like anything else, I can't really appreciate all that hardware that, you've spent so much money on just to mimic a sound that somebody made in, before you were born. Because really it comes down, and this applies to writing, it applies to music, it applies to anything that you're trying to sell. Actually, you ever go to a flea market and, somebody's trying to sell you, let's say, the original PlayStation for the original price, and it's clearly used and beaten up. But to them, they paid that. And they can tell you, oh, I treated it well, blah, blah, blah. They don't understand the market value. They understand how much they paid for it. Same thing with writing, same thing with music. If you are trying to sell your wares, you realize how much work and effort and blood and sweat and tears went into it. The people buying it from you do not. So, you publish your first ebook, you go on Amazon, and you want to put it for like $15.99. No, that's not going to work. I got an email from Amazon this week saying, we know that you like children's stories, which I guess I do. I've never considered what I read really childish, childlike. So, you would like these suggestions, including Steelheart, which I did look up. I didn't realize it was YA. I just heard good things about it. And Steelheart is going on ebooks for like well over $10. And I just don't get what an ebook, like why you would pay that amount. I gotta wonder how much of that is actually getting to the author. Say what you will about the author, because I know there's some people make fun of that guy. I don't know I don't know the history. I've just heard a lot of promotional stuff about Steelheart. It sounds good to me. It sounds like a fun story. Whatevs. But yeah, there's a large disconnect between what you think something's worth and what the buyer is willing to pay. And when you're nobody, even when you're somebody, there's a line. Like, why does your name bring anything to the table? You may know that it's quality, but is this particular book, is this particular product going to be quality? There's a lot of... Look at Stephen King. He can get a fair amount of money for his ebooks. But his work over the years is wildly inconsistent. There's tons of stuff from the 90s in particular. I'm thinking that you just never knew what was going to be good and what wasn't. And a lot of big names are like that. I mean, there are some people, like, take like Mary Higgins Clark. Every book's going to be the same. you know it. There's nothing really wrong with that. Daniel Steele's another one. Really, I'm just thinking of the books that I would have bought my mother or grandmother for Christmas. There's nothing wrong with consistency and predictability for a particular market. YA has a lot of that. Romance, erotica. I mean, it's all kind of, Harlequin books. They give you the action beats. They give you the outline. Just kind of fill in the blanks. At least that's what I heard. I've never written for Harlequin, and even then, that's challenging. I mean, even if you have, the hero myth, in front of you, and you're trying to fill in the blanks there. I don't know. That's like between 17 and like 35 steps, depending on, whose version of it you use. That's a lot of blanks to fill. And then you try to convert that into 90 to 110,000 words, which I'm a little over 17,000 at this point, I think. Forget what, 17,200, something like that. Again, I wanted to talk about pantsing, which I like saying the word, because I like it. I like pantsing. It's a lot of more work. Like, I've seen, there's various websites, various books out there. Write your novel in 30 days, write your novel in 90 days, write your novel in 7 days, blah, blah, blah. And they all come down to the same thing. They all really do. It's outlining. Outlining, because yes, you can write that story in 30 days, as long as you've put in 90 days of outlining, and character notes, and research about backstories, and locations, and, if necessary, science, or religions, archaeology. Now I'm just throwing out words, just nouns at random. Lotions. So, as long as you've done all that backstory, yes, you can write. By then, you can write that novel in 30 days. And, if you have no job or family, that certainly helps. So, if you're a hobo with a typewriter and no responsibilities, you can pump out that story no problem. Good luck. Thank you for listening, hobo. But the rest of us who work 9-to-5 jobs, who have familial responsibilities, household responsibilities, pets even, things that take up time, it's a challenge. I don't know. It's you almost, in a way, you have to think of it as a chore, as finding time to write, and but you don't want it. You don't want it to be a chore, but you have to make it a responsibility. And it's weird because it's to yourself. And I don't know about you, but I have a long history of failing when it comes to personal responsibility. I'm thinking like doctor's appointments. Terrible with those. Just terrible. So what hope do I have for anything else, really? Especially since I actually have medical needs. See, it's far too early. Normally I'm recording this when I'm already tired from work, but now I'm just tired from being tired because it's 9:30 in the morning. I should be sleeping on a Saturday. But you gotta cherish these precious moments when you're home alone. And I think I'll wrap it up at that. I do want, later today, the KMFDM concert tickets, that wraps up the giveaway. So I don't know if I'm going to write a blog post about my findings with that, or if I'm going to do an audio post about it. But I do really want to discuss what happened there. I also, like I said, want to do a review of this Behringer thing. I guess I'll fully do that after this test, see what happens with this, and hopefully it's good. Hopefully we finally have a setup where I have this groove tubes, I got my sonar, I got everything, I got the Behringer, I got everything set up finally for some quality audio. Then it's just a matter of actually bringing quality content, and that's a completely different challenge, especially for me, because I never know what people want. I just know what I want. I want to hear people talk, preferably about things that I like, and preferably with a decent tone, and preferably with the vernacular and articulation that is required to say the word preferably correctly. Anyway, plenty of ways can be found to contact me on black-ring.net. You can tweet me at @acoincidence. Like Facebook on facebook.com/acoincidence. Hit me up. Ask me questions. What do you want to know? What do you want to talk about? What do you want to hear me talk about? What are you wearing? Until next time, have a good one, and hopefully this sounded all right.